In this video, we share a short clip from episode 5 of our Love and Marriage series of how William and Kim have been living in-house separated from each other for 5 years. Yet, when William was arrested and facing 25 years for aggravated battery, in the words of Tammy Wynette, Kim chose to stand by her man. It is a remarkable story of love at its highest expression. Hope you enjoy. Ms. Kim, I really want to ask this question. If you care to get into it, fine. If you don't, we don't have to. But I know that there was one period in your relationship when my dear brother was really facing something. I won't go into details unless you just choose to. I'm absolutely certain that your marriage and your relationship was tested. Now, I stand corrected, but is that possibly so?
Yeah, it was tested.
You know what you're talking about? When I was facing the...
Yeah. Yeah, it was tested. But through prayer. And you gotta believe. And I just knew that he will be okay.
But Bishop, to that point, to her credit rather, at the time when that happened in 2012, and I can say it, when I was arrested, was looking at 25 years in prison for aggravated battery. At the time when that happened, Bishop, that was in March of 2012. And I say to her credit, that's what I say, when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing and obtains favor with the Lord. To her credit, when this happened, me and her, as you know, Bishop, had just come through a 5-year rough patch. From 2006 to 2011, me and this woman here were one stroke of the pen away from divorce.
I remember.
We were in-house separated, Sharella. And it was in August of 11, when the healing process started to slowly heal. This is 5 years we had been physically, intimately, spiritually, emotionally apart, just living in the same house. So when this happened, Bishop, she could have easily said, you on your own.
Right.
You're on your own. But Sharella, from, I would say, round 1 of that fight until the final decision, she was right there with me all the way through. All the way through. So when you love somebody, truly, what's the scripture, Bishop? Love conquers a multitude of faults.
That was a multitude of faults, yeah.
So at that moment, everything we had been through was secondary. Everything we had dealt with was secondary to what we were dealing with.
Now, Kim, if you don't mind, because I bring this up, I really do, because I wanted you all to speak to the fact that a lot of couples would just quit and give up.
Yeah. At the first sign of trouble, they're ready to run.
They're out of there.
But from what he just described, she is what we call a woman of strength. She stood by her husband. And that's what I was saying when we talked about Mom's book in the beginning. Although this might have happened, you don't have to just up and run. No, you stay in the fight if it's worth fighting for.
But I want to hear from her. Why did you stay and fight? Especially you were, as Punch explained, you were a stroke away from just calling it quits. Why? What was it that gave you the unction to continue to stand with your husband, whom you were already emotionally, physically, what have you, Separate, or as he said, in-house separated from. What was that though?
I love him. I couldn't leave him like that.
Man.
Who does that?
That's powerful.
That's not love. Because at that point you put those differences aside. Because if the shoe had been on the other foot, if that shoe had been on the other foot,
He would have fought for her.
stayed.
That's
And I didn't say just because of obligation or whatever. I love him. God want to see him through that. He doesn't deserve that. He didn't deserve that. Yes, we all may have a bad hand, but he's a good man. And I love him.
Bishop, and we could talk about it, you know, because we have over the years. It wasn't where our marriage was at. It wasn't a situation where it wasn't all me, but it wasn't all her either. And I think for me, even coming out of that rough period, the healing for me began when I stopped to take accountability of what my role was and where we found ourselves in our marriage. I stopped praying for my marriage, Sherella, and started praying for the will of God to be done in my marriage. And a part of that was, you gotta stop, take a look in the mirror, and yeah, there were some mistakes made on her part, but it wasn't all her.
Mhm.
And you need to be real with yourself. It wasn't all her. So I had to take accountability for what my role was in that and in our marriage. I was between me and her is I openly took accountability for mine. She quietly took accountability for hers. But at the end of the day, we took accountability for it, where we were in our marriage. And I gotta say, Bishop, during that healing process, I would say the last 8 years, of these 38 years have been the best.
Yes.
The Bible says that the glory of the latter days of this house shall be greater than in its former days. We had some good days in the past, Bishop, but oh boy, we've had some great days in the last 8. And so it took some work. And when we came out of that rough patch, Bishop, my first mistake was during the healing process was, my thought process is we pick up right where we left off. Just pick up and keep it moving. Not realizing that where we left off at was a bad place.
It was a bad place, yeah.
So why do you want to pick up from there?
Right.
I had to come to the fact that we had been apart from each other emotionally for 5 years. So it was almost as though I had to realize this is almost like starting a courtship all over again. And though we had been together, we really, after 5 years, had to start to learn each other all over again.
If you enjoy what we do here on this channel of Father's Note, we would ask that you would subscribe, like, comment, and share. Until then, thank you. We'll see you in the next video.